On January 14, 2020, in the small town of Zabłączyn, western Poland, a serious train collision with a truck occurred, highlighting the crucial importance of adhering to speed limits and safety protocols at railroad crossings. The incident involved a truck driver who approached a railroad crossing too quickly and was unable to stop in time for a passing train. Despite the driver's attempts to brake, the truck, carrying an excavator on its flatbed, was too heavy to stop promptly, leading to a collision with the train. Another security camera footage revealed that as the truck driver approached the crossing at an excessive speed, the vehicle's momentum was too great to halt safely. The collision caused the truck to spin 90 degrees. Remarkably, the truck driver emerged unscathed from the accident, though the truck itself was heavily damaged and deemed a total loss. On the train, out of 105 passengers, 4 were injured, including 2 train operators. The injuries were not life-threatening, but the incident caused significant distress and disruption. On June 30, 2022, in Thailand, a train accident occurred when a locomotive traveling from Map Karbao station to Phra Sadet in the Keng Khoi district, Saraburi province, derailed while navigating a curve. The derailment's cause might be linked to improper cargo storage, leading to a weight imbalance. This imbalance potentially caused the train to tip to the right as it turned, nearly resulting in a rollover. Fortunately, no passenger cars flipped, and there were no injuries reported. The incident led to significant disruption, with passengers being transferred by alternative means due to the derailment's location, which appeared remote and challenging for vehicle access. On February 21, 2023, a highly dangerous and reckless incident occurred at a level crossing near Littlehampton in West Sussex, England. 2 individuals on a moped ignored the flashing red lights at the Toddington level crossing and narrowly missed being struck by a train travelling at up to 70 miles per hour. This incident was captured by CCTV cameras and highlights the extreme risks of such reckless behavior. The moped riders swerved around the barriers, which are designed as automatic half barriers that operate with lights and sirens, descending 27 seconds before a train's arrival. This system is intended to prevent people from being trapped on the crossing. However, in this case, the riders blatantly disregarded these safety measures and crossed dangerously just moments ahead of the oncoming train. The train driver, operating the 14:30 service from Brighton to Southampton, had to make an emergency stop and take time to compose himself after this close encounter. This incident occurred on a stretch of railway where trains can travel at speeds of up to 70 miles per hour, making the situation even more perilous. Inspector Emma Bolton of the British Transport Police described the incident as, quote, some of the most stupidly reckless behaviour on a level crossing she had seen in her career. Lucy McAuliffe, Network Rail's route director for Sussex, emphasised the gravity of the situation, noting that it could have resulted in 2 fatalities and a train driver living with the trauma of such an event. In October 2019, a concerning incident involving a Russian train operator highlighted the perils of distraction due to mobile phone use while operating a train. The operator, preoccupied with her phone, failed to notice another train on the tracks ahead. This lapse in attention led to a collision, fortunately with a stationary train, which mitigated the severity of the accident. The incident underscores the critical importance of undivided attention while operating heavy machinery, particularly in the context of railway transport. The operator's late reaction, characterized by frantic attempts to press buttons to halt the train, was insufficient to prevent the collision. This event became a stark reminder of the dangers of mobile phone use while operating vehicles and the need for strict adherence to safety protocols in railway operations. On October 16, 2021, in Thackerville, Oklahoma, a dramatic train collision occurred. The incident took place around 7 p.m. local time near the Oklahoma-Texas border. The Amtrak train 822, operating daily between Fort Worth, Texas, and Oklahoma City, collided with the car hauler that had become stuck on the train tracks at a railroad crossing. The car hauler, loaded with several vehicles, got high-centered on the tracks due to the elevated nature of the crossing. This made it impossible for the truck to move further off the track, leading to its unfortunate position at the time of the collision. Miraculously, the truck driver and his dog, who were in the vehicle during the collision, were shaken up but uninjured. However, the accident resulted in non-life-threatening injuries to 5 people on board the train, who were then transported to 2 area hospitals. The incident had 110 passengers and crew members aboard the train at the time of the collision. Following the crash, Amtrak had to cancel the train north of the incident scene, and substitute transportation was provided for northbound customers. The Love County Sheriff's Office responded to the scene, and the area was advised to be avoided due to the lengthy cleanup process. The site was cleared by early the next morning. In a remarkable display of community spirit and quick thinking, passengers at Stirling Station in Perth came together to rescue a man whose leg became trapped between a train and the platform on August 6, 2014. The incident, which occurred at approximately 8:50 a.m., turned into a global news story due to the heroic actions of the commuters and station staff. The man was attempting to board the train when his foot slipped into the gap. The potential danger of the situation was immense, as a worst-case scenario could have seen him lose his leg. However, thanks to the quick response of his fellow passengers and the train staff, a disaster was averted. Commuters at the station, upon seeing Andy's predicament, quickly disembarked from the train and worked together to physically tilt the carriage away from the platform. This collective effort allowed enough space for Andy to free his leg. The scene was captured on video and rapidly gained attention worldwide, highlighting both the dangers of gaps at train stations and the incredible power of communal effort in emergency situations. In Battambang, Cambodia, a truck, captured on various video angles, recklessly sped towards the crossing, ignoring a rail worker's warning flag. In a perilous attempt to outrun the approaching train, the truck driver accelerated, only to be struck at the rear bumper by the train. This collision resulted in both the truck and a train car flipping over. The scene post-collision was chaotic, with responders and officials arriving to manage the aftermath. Fluid was seen leaking from the overturned train car, adding to the scene's complexity. Despite the violent nature of the accident, bystanders in the vicinity miraculously avoided injury. The truck driver, who was in a haste to beat the train, fortunately sustained only minor injuries. However, the driver now faces legal repercussions due to this reckless action. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of impatience and the importance of adhering to safety regulations at train crossings. May 5, 2021, in Richmond, Texas, a remarkable and dramatic incident occurred involving an 18-wheeler and an Amtrak train. The incident took place in the morning around 10:30 a.m. at the railroad tracks on 2nd Street in Richmond. The 18-wheeler, which was carrying cases of bottled water, became a target for a train crash, resulting in the truck being split in half. This resulted in cases of bottled water being scattered across the road and train tracks, creating a massive cleanup operation. Miraculously, no one was hurt in the incident. The truck driver and any occupants in the vehicle, as well as passengers and crew on the train, were reported to be safe following the collision. On March 24, 2014, around 2:50 a.m., a Chicago Transit Authority Blue Line train, operated by 25-year-old Brittany Ty Shecker Haywood, crashed at the O'Hare International Airport station. The train, composed of 4 two-car 2600 series train sets, overran the bumper at the end of the track and partially ascended an escalator. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . The National Transportation Safety Board investigated the accident and focused on the theory that the operator, who admitted to working extensive overtime, fell asleep at the controls. As a result of this crash, the CTA lowered the speed limit into the O'Hare station from 25 to 15 miles per hour and extended the area of this speed limit. The train operator was subsequently fired. The crash resulted in around 34 injuries, but there were no fatalities. This incident underscores the importance of operator alertness and adherence to safety protocols in mass transit systems. On September 21, 2022, a significant incident occurred involving the derailment of a RTD light rail train at the intersection of Exposition Avenue and Sable Boulevard in Aurora, Colorado. The derailment resulted from the train operator's excessive speed. Specifically, the train was traveling at approximately 38.8 miles per hour as it approached a 90-degree bend in the track, where the speed limit was only 10 miles per hour. The incident led to the derailment of two of the train cars, causing them to become unhooked. Additionally, the train ran over a traffic sign and damaged a fence near the intersection. 3 people were injured and taken to the hospital, though their injuries were reported as non-life-threatening. This derailment caused significant disruption, necessitating road closures and the replacement of our line's service with shuttle buses while the accident was cleared. An RTD action plan was declassified following the incident, which identified the train operator's speeding and distraction as the primary causes of the derailment. To enhance safety and prevent future incidents, RTD's corrective action plan included steps such as reducing the speed limit on the approach to the curve, adding additional signage to warn operators of the curve, and evaluating how supervisors are assigned. Furthermore, they planned to develop a strategy for installing an automatic braking system at this particular section of the track. The train operator involved in the 2022 incident is no longer employed by RTD, and the possibility of them facing criminal charges was not disclosed. In the quaint village of Wellington, Ohio, a train derailment incident occurred. This incident unfolded on the morning of May 28, 2019, at approximately 6 a.m. A CSX train, loaded with various items like fresh produce, construction supplies, and dangerous chemicals, encountered a critical issue as it approached the 43.4-mile mark near the village. The train operators noticed abnormal movements in the front car and immediately activated the emergency brakes. Despite their efforts, the train couldn't be halted in a controlled manner. Surveillance footage vividly captured the dramatic derailment. As the train's brakes were forcefully applied, sparks erupted. One of the white cars, visible in the footage, veered off the rails, triggering a domino effect. Rapid response by emergency personnel was a crucial factor in managing the situation. Fortunately, the hazardous materials being transported were located towards the end of the train and remained intact. The only significant concern was minor fuel leakage from the refrigerated cars. Remarkably, there were no injuries reported, but the financial toll was substantial. The official report tallied the damages at over $2.2 million. Further investigation attributed the cause of the derailment to insufficient lubrication in a suspension bearing. This incident happened on October 9, 2006, near Cactus, Texas. A catastrophic train collision occurred involving a BNSF local freight train and a southbound BNSF coal train. The local train, comprising 3 engines and 115 freight cars, was on duty from Amarillo, Texas, while the coal train, with 4 engines and 128 loaded coal cars, originated from La Junta, Colorado. The incident took place in the evening at around 7:30 p.m., under cloudy conditions and a temperature of 43 degrees Fahrenheit. The collision happened when the southbound coal train, traveling on the Boise City subdivision, encountered a switch at milepost 64.6 near Etta, lined in the reverse position. This misaligned switch directed the coal train into a siding where the local train had earlier placed 57 cars. As the coal train's crew cleared the tumbleweed road crossing, they realized the switch was set incorrectly but had insufficient time to avert the collision. Despite their quick reaction to apply the emergency brake and brace for impact, the collision was inevitable. The impact resulted in the derailment of 2 locomotives, 17 loaded coal cars, and 9 empty cars from the siding, 2 of which were empty hazardous material cars. Fortunately, There were no fatalities, but the engineer and conductor of the coal train sustained non-life-threatening injuries. The Federal Railroad Administration's report detailed the circumstances leading to the accident. The local train crew, including a locomotive engineer, a conductor, and a brakeman, failed to realign the switch after completing their operations. This oversight, along with other factors, led to the accident and substantial damage, estimated at approximately $2,048,679 for rail equipment and track damage, excluding clearing costs of $127,000. Agua Branca, a relatively new town in Maranhão, Brazil, experienced a significant railroad accident on February 21, 2021. This incident brought attention to the town's emergency response systems. The accident involved a speeding train emitting a faint siren, which seemingly went unheard by another train involved in the collision. The impact severely damaged the first train's car.
Eita buceta!
Limited details are available about the cause, but it's speculated that brake failure or miscommunication regarding track changes might have contributed to the crash. This event highlighted the need for enhanced safety protocols and communication systems on railways, especially in rapidly developing communities like Agua Branca. On June 28, 2015, a dramatic train accident occurred at Churchgate Station, one of Mumbai's busiest railway hubs. A local train coming from Hyundai crashed into the dead end on platform number 3 of Churchgate Station around 11:20 a.m. This incident happened because the motorman failed to stop the train in time, resulting in the first coach jumping onto the south end concourse of the platform. The impact was so severe that the wheels of the first coach were hanging in the air, damaging both the technical equipment in the lower part of the coach and the overhead wire above. 5 people suffered injuries due to the incident. The Western Railway launched an inquiry following the accident and suspended the motorman, guard, and loco inspector connected to the incident. The operators were held responsible for the mishap. The crash led to the disruption of suburban train services on the Western Railway line. The accident could have been even more catastrophic, but fortunately, a hydraulic buffer at the front part of the local train prevented more severe damage. In Ardouilly, a small municipality in West Flanders, Belgium, a serious train crash occurred on December 20, 2022, around 4 p.m. local time, when a semi-truck became stuck on the train tracks. The truck driver, upon realizing the vehicle was immobilized on the tracks, contacted Iveco service for assistance. Workers from Iveco, presumably the truck service company, arrived to address the situation. They managed to restart the truck, but it failed again shortly after, stranding it on the tracks. Despite frantic efforts to force open the truck's hood and get it moving, time ran out. The train, unable to stop in time, collided with the truck, resulting in the front 2 cars of the train derailing. Remarkably, the passengers on the train, which was packed, mostly escaped with only minor injuries. The crash caused extensive damage over a 500-meter stretch of the railway. This incident highlighted the importance of proper procedure in such emergencies, as Infrabel, the railway company, had stickers near crossings instructing to contact them in case of a vehicle being stuck on the tracks. On June 14, 2006, a significant collision occurred between 2 Burlington Northern Santa Fe freight trains at the East Kismet siding near Kismet in Madera County, California. This collision, involving an eastbound BNSF freight train and a westbound BNSF unit train, resulted in substantial derailments and injuries. The eastbound train, traveling at 22 miles per hour, collided head-on with the westbound train, which was moving at a speed of 38 miles per hour. The collision led to the derailment of 3 of the 7 locomotives on the eastbound train, along with 2 tank cars, one of which was placarded as flammable. Another tank car carrying flammable gas was knocked off its center pin but did not derail. In total, 4 locomotives and 14 loaded hopper cars of cement from the westbound train also derailed. Thankfully, no hazardous materials were released, and no evacuation was necessary. All crew members from both trains sustained non-life-threatening injuries, with one requiring an extended hospital stay. The total damages were substantial, with equipment damages estimated at $4,932,528 and track and structure damages at $392,000. The Federal Railroad Administration's investigation concluded that the probable cause of the accident was the failure of the eastbound train to comply with an automatic block or interlocking signal displaying a stop indication. On the 27th of October, 2022, a significant incident occurred in São Paulo, Brazil, involving a freight train. During its journey, the train encountered several mechanical issues, which, fortunately, did not result in any injuries when it derailed from its tracks.
Caralho! Vai tombar, vai tombar! Caralho, tombou tudo, mano! Eita porra!
Emergência, caiu! Tem que estar aqui, vamos correr com a posição! Cadê?
Tombou foi tudo, mano!
Details surrounding this particular derailment are somewhat scarce, but the primary cause is suspected to be a malfunction in the track infrastructure, possibly broken tracks. This type of failure is not uncommon in railway operations. In fact, the Federal Railroad Administration reports that broken rails and faulty welds are responsible for about 15% of train derailments. When a heavy, high-speed freight train encounters such a compromised section of the track, the likelihood of a derailment increases significantly. The physics behind such derailments involves the train's weight and momentum encountering a sudden irregularity in the rail, which disrupts the smooth flow of the wheels. This can lead to the wheels losing contact with the track, causing the train to lose balance and potentially leave the tracks. The impact of such events can be devastating, considering the size and speed of freight trains, often carrying substantial cargo. On November 11, 2019, a significant train collision occurred at the Kachiguda railway station in Hyderabad, which is the capital of the Indian state of Telangana. The incident involved a head-on collision between an MMTS train and the Kurnool City Secunderabad Hundrey Intercity Express. The MMTS train was heading towards Falaknuma, and the Hundrey Express was entering Kachiguda station. This accident resulted in injuries to 16 passengers, as well as the loco pilot and co-pilot of the MMTS train. The collision happened at around 10:30 a.m. when the MMTS train, failing to notice a red signal, moved ahead while the Hundrey Express was about to switch tracks to reach a different platform. Both trains were moving relatively slowly, which helped in averting a major disaster. However, the crash caused 6 coaches of the MMTS train and 3 coaches of the Hundrey Express to derail. A significant aspect of this incident was the condition of the MMTS train's loco pilot, who was trapped in the mangled cabin for nearly 8 hours. The pilot was in critical condition and had to be admitted to a private hospital. This incident took place on December 30, 2013. A significant train accident occurred in Castleton, North Dakota, involving a collision between a grain train and an oil train. The grain train, due to a manufacturing defect in an axle, derailed and obstructed the adjacent track. This led to the oncoming oil train colliding with the derailed cars. The accident caused a massive fireball and the spillage of approximately 470,000 gallons of crude oil, leading to huge explosions. The BNSF locomotive's onboard video showed the crew had very little time to react. Despite the severity of the incident, there were no injuries to the crew or residents, but the event necessitated the evacuation of 1,400 people. This accident highlighted significant safety issues in rail transportation, especially regarding the transportation of hazardous materials like crude oil. It spurred a national debate on oil train safety and led to regulatory changes. The National Transportation Safety Board investigation emphasized the need for better axle testing, which could have detected the flaw during maintenance in 2010. Moreover, the NTSB pointed out the inadequacy of having only one non-hazardous buffer car between the locomotive and oil tank cars, recommending a study to determine optimal buffer requirements for crew safety. Additionally, The accident accelerated the phase-out of older .111 tank cars, deemed unsafe for transporting flammable liquids, to be replaced by the safer .117 models. On the night of November 13, 2021, near Montrose in Lee County, Iowa, a dramatic train derailment took place along the Mississippi River. This incident, involving a BNSF railway coal train, occurred when the train collided with a barge that was oddly parked at the river's edge, overhanging the nearby railway. The collision happened at around 11:50 p.m. and resulted in 2 locomotives and several coal cars derailing, with 2 of the cars overturning into the Rive. No injuries were reported from this incident. However, the environmental impact was significant. About 1,400 gallons of diesel fuel leaked from one of the locomotives, with hundreds of gallons seeping into the Mississippi River. In response, workers deployed floating booms to contain the fuel spill. Fortunately, the wind conditions were favorable, pushing the diesel, which floats on water, towards the shoreline, aiding in the containment efforts. Additionally, an unspecified amount of coal spilled into the river from 2 railcars. This coal was later removed by an excavator, and the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, DNR, began evaluating the impact of the spill on mussels on the riverbed. The U.S. Coast Guard was involved in investigating the incident, and the identity of the barge operator was not immediately available. This incident took place in Warner Robins, Georgia, near Robins Air Force Base. On May 10, 2023, a flatbed truck carrying a silver sedan became trapped on a railroad crossing. Despite the descending crossing arms, the truck driver attempted to cross. This decision proved disastrous. The flatbed was unable to clear the crossing in time, becoming stuck as the arms descended, trapping the vehicle on the tracks. In a desperate bid to escape, the driver tried to maneuver the truck but to no avail. Realizing the imminent danger as the train approached, the driver abandoned the vehicle just in time. The approaching Norfolk Southern train then collided with the flatbed, destroying the cab and dragging the sedan along the tracks. The incident was severe enough to nearly impact another vehicle waiting behind the flatbed. After the crash, it's reported that someone from the nearby Air Force Base checked on the driver who, according to the local police chief, had been attempting a left turn when the crossing arms trapped him. In the small town of Maranhão do in southern Brazil, with a population of approximately 8,800, a train accident occurred that fortunately did not involve any nearby residents. While detailed information about this incident is limited, video footage suggests that a series of rail cars toppled over near a short hill adjacent to the tracks, causing a chain reaction where multiple cars were pulled down into a gutter.